Hi everyone, good morning. It's a beautiful morning here in Vancouver. So this morning we have a conversation about karma. A good way to start the day, right? And I have a guest. Her name is Meri, and she has a very interesting Instagram page called Spiritual Sense, and she posted about karma recently, and it picked my attention. I was like, we should talk about it, and on Instagram live, and share what we think about karma and how we perceive it. Looks like she just jumped on it here, so I'm gonna wait for her request to join. But karma is a very interesting topic. A lot of people think that it's kind of like a punishment reward system, but it's not quite like that. After spiritual awakening, you actually start understanding what karma is and how it impacts your the way your life unfolds. Okay, so Meri is almost here. Let's see. Yeah, so that's why I thought that this topic would be of interest to a lot of people. Hi,
Hello.
Meri.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
Doing pretty good, thank you. Excited to
Good,
talk
good.
about this.
Yeah, awesome. I was like, that's the best way to start the day, to talk about karma.
Yeah,
I'm in Vancouver right now. It's like 9 a.m. So lots of people probably, still at the beginning of the day. I was like, wow, this is an amazing topic.
yeah, it sure is. It's interesting when you messaged me about it. I wrote about it a few months ago. I don't even it came to me kind of through a dream. And then at the same time, when you messaged me, I'm like, this is meant to be because look at the book I was reading.
I just read that book too.
It's amazing.
It's
It's
amazing. No, Sadhguru
yeah, it just came
very,
recently, and it's by Sadhguru,
yeah.
Yogi Guide to Crafting Your Destiny. It's amazing. I really love it.
Yeah, I like how he describes how karma gets imprinted on, on physical body, on mental body, and energy body. And then if we talk about other two layers that's left, that can be, the bliss body, and that is different level. So
Yeah,
I like how he tries to explain it, but again, it all comes from your own perception, from your own experience within. And I definitely think that conversations about karma would be something that a lot of people would, listen in and then see if it's something that they would like. But how about if we start from, you could introduce yourself,
sure.
and where are you located, Meri?
I am in Jacksonville, Florida. It's nice and really hot here right now. So I'm originally from Bosnia, so I immigrated here during the Civil War in the 90s, and I've been here more now than I have been in Bosnia. So it's lovely. There's a huge community here from people all over the world, and I really like it.
Very nice. I'm from Ukraine, so it's not that far from Bosnia.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like I felt like we have similar kind of Eastern Europeans are really have cultures are really similar. So it's good.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much for joining, Meri. And I think to begin our conversation, I love hearing more about your spiritual awakening journey, when you started feeling the shift in your consciousness and how it happened. If you could, and put it into a nice little summary, that would be great. I love hearing those stories.
Sure. Thank you. So my spiritual awakening started about 7 years ago. I lost my mom, who was so when we immigrated to US, it was just me and her. And she was really my mom and dad and everything to me. And she was in a horrible, tragic accident and died in a car accident crossing the street. And one of the worst things that happened is this was on the news. So, going through something that's so tragic and crumbles your whole foundation. as hard as it is, but having everybody see it and know about it and immediately call you, and you're just having all these emotions, and it's that led me to, kind of, I just like, what is the purpose of being here? When your one person that you love so much is gone. And so I started kind of going within and meditating.
Mm-hmm.
That one year, the first year after I lost her, I read 30 books. I'm not kidding. And it was all about out-of-body experiences. I've never been really religious. I wasn't brought up religious, so I always believed in the higher power, but in my own sense, I'd never liked somebody telling me how to believe and how to think.
Right.
So stubborn. And I read these books about Reiki, out-of-body experiences, like I was saying, and I needed medical proof that life goes on after. So I read books from like medical doctors who explained out-of-body experiences that their patients, left. And there were so many similar things that people go through after they pass on. And then some of them come back because their mission hasn't been completed. So that intrigued me a lot. And then only like about 2 years ago, I was like, there's so many spiritual accounts. I just want to share my, quotes, inspirational things on Spiritual Sense. And then, when I started it, I was just posting quotes. And then it evolved more because I'm a creative person as it is. I'm a designer for my entire life. I produce videos and graphics and websites. So I wanted to use my skill for the good of humanity. So I started, I created Spiritual Sense, and that name came to me also in kind of a clairaudient dream. A lot of things that come to me, these words, come in a clairaudient dream. It's interesting for sure. So that's how I started. And it's still evolving. My Spiritual Sense is very broad, and it's not limited to like one thing. And that's one thing with me, like I like to explore everything, and I'm an explorer when it comes to spirituality, exploring different dimensions of, first I started with tarot and reading the books, and then I went into Reiki. I got certified as a Usui Reiki master, and I just felt a shift in energy. But one thing I forgot to mention is meditation. It changed my life. It changed my life. I felt like I could go into a room and just bring peace to all kinds of situations, and it's been incredible. So you can't always feel like that, but I started with like 10 minutes a day, and that's all I did. It's still hard to meditate sometimes because your mind's always like going all over the place, but what helps me a lot is also physical fitness. I started with Tai Chi and Qigong, and I feel like movement meditation is really important in getting getting centered in your chi, so energy.
Meditation, it's not only can be like you sitting and doing nothing. Meditation is basically your state of mind, right? Like if you are reflecting on something, you can look at your thoughts as a witness, right? So sometimes when I drive a car, I have downloads happening, So it's not like you have to just do this, but for some people, they just have to do that because otherwise their thoughts go on autopilot. They can't just, step into that witness position and look at the thoughts as observer. So, it's nice to just stop all the inbound information and not to activate your five senses and just sit. But it's not easy for everybody.
For sure, yeah.
Awesome. Well, let's talk about karma. And karma clearing and how to change the ways we respond. If you were to define karma, what would be your definition?
I would say I used to have a wrong definition of it, and it was like, be afraid of what you're doing or you're going to be punished. But it's not that. It's really the law of cause and effect. So for every action, there's a consequence. And like Sadhguru, that book, and somebody was just asking what the book was. The book is called Karma, A Yogi's Guide to Crafting Your Destiny, Sadhguru. It came like a month ago. It came out just like a month ago. And I would say it's the law of cause and effect, but it's something that we carry within our energy, our physicality, and our mentality in a way that, so if something happened to you in the past, like let's say I had a, my traumatic accident that my mom died, I felt like in the beginning that I actually never felt like there was a punishment, you know. A lot of people would tell me she was a good woman. Why did she pass away, the way that she did? But, um, you know, I felt like her mission, I felt like her mission was completed here. And the way that you go is not a punishment because death is just a portal. That's what I've learned. I am not afraid of death. And I know that sounds weird to a lot of people. And my friends who know me see me that I live my life to the fullest. There's no um, I really like try to get as many experiences in my life, traveling, talking and meeting with different people. It's opened up my eye a lot more in the way that, approach things and be more gentle with people and kind and all that. But I never saw karma as a kind of punishment. I always had that inner sense that treat people good and good will come to you. But in the way that karma, that he describes the karma is, what I liked about it is that it's mental, emotional, mental, physical, and energetic. So we carry our karma with us no matter what. But with meditation, the karma can sit and hover above you, but it's not defining you. I always saw in my life, I forgive easily to people, but I might not give you 5 chances. I might just distance myself and I love you from the distance, but there's only so much I can take. I felt like also karma is the way that I treat people, not the way they treat me. Their karma is the way that they want to treat me, and that's on them. I'm not going to return. If they treat me bad, I try not to, reciprocate and treat them exactly the same that way, because then I will take on that karma. And also, there was always a question about karma when I was younger, when I see death and war and children and women and men, innocent men dying in all these wars, just like in Europe, in Bosnia and Serbia and Croatia. When people were being killed, a lot of, so there's no God and things like that. But that is our collective karma. That's something that I just learned in this awesome book is the sense of the collective karma. It is everybody's karma. So that's what I feel when I see suffering in the world. I can't ignore it. I have to do something. I have to share. I have to tell people this is not right. And I felt like, some people felt like there's karma has an end date. There's a karmic return. And I don't know if you're familiar with astrology. When you get your solar return in the 29, 30 years of age, you shift your karma. You work out a lot of karma at that time. And then also it happens in kind of Uranus opposition around the age of 40 something years old. So I've started to experience, as I'm getting close to 40, so I've started to experience some of that where, it kind of the questions come as, am I doing the things I want to be doing? And it's kind of like realigning yourself with your higher self.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. I believe that a lot of people really think that it's a punishment and reward system, but it's really not. It's like, it's a software that's playing out.
Yes.
Right. And also you mentioned about, I tried to do good. But again, when you are in a state where, you haven't experienced, you haven't gone through all the layers of all these memories that you compounded, it's really hard to really, the understanding of good is still very narrow. So you might think that you're doing good, but it's not in, in that pure meaning of doing good, because it's about intention at the end of the day. And some people run away from their own pain. So how clear they can be with their own intention behind it, because mind can be very tricky. It can convince you that you are doing the best thing in the world. You wouldn't even realize that it's actually, those people who in the belief of a religion or whatever, they can kill millions of people, or the war, that's the reason of religious wars and stuff like that. They truly believe that they are doing good, that they're doing good stuff. So yeah, what you think is good might not really be good, but at the end of the day, it's about the underlying intention of the action, right? So let's talk. I know we scheduled it for 45 minutes, so just to make sure that we talk about all the important aspects, let's talk about karma clearing and
Yes.
how to respond in a different way.
So that's my favorite topic, because the way that I see karma clearing is approaching every situation with a new mind. Think of a baby. Drop the past cycles of, oh, this person treated me so bad, so when I meet somebody else who's similar to them, I'm gonna treat them just, I have to be careful. I can't let my guard down. So karma clearing is, first, it comes with awareness. So I designed a piece yesterday with a merry-go-round. A merry-go-round is, when you are in it, in an unconscious cycle, and that's what karma is. It's kind of unconscious. It's your unconscious, so you don't know what you're doing. I think, my friend Noemi just joined. So you don't see when you're in it, you're going in the cycles and cycles and cycles of this pain, and you don't know what to do, and you just feel so bad. The way to get to the karma clearing first step is awareness. Stepping out and seeing, oh wow, I have been doing this cycle for years, and I'm just sick and tired of being sick and tired. So I decide to change. And the first step is, some kind of contemplation, reflection, meditation, whatever it may be, or prayer if you're religious, and a daily ritual to get back to your sacred self, and realize that you are divine and you are never punished for anything that you did. You are whole, you are worthy, and you are here for a reason. So starts with self-love and awareness, and then the hardest part, the next step, is choosing to respond differently. So when you are approaching a situation where somebody's so hurt and then they may call you something bad or say something bad to you, you kind of center yourself and realize that you were in their place before. So if you approach the situation with unconditional love in the way that you respond, you drop loads of karma from the past. And the situations that you attract, you will not attract those situations anymore. You're going to attract some new one where your other karma software upgrade is required. So to that next level, you're going to be attracting a new situation because you just responded differently and you help that person calm down. And another thing I like to say is, when somebody says something to you and you really want to come back and say something negative, just let their words echo. Don't say anything. Just calm down, breathe, take a deep breath. Let their words echo in their own sense, because once you see that people hurt people, then you can choose and respond differently, because we want to attack because we feel that we're not worthy. It comes from that aspect. But when you remember you are worthy, and I promise you, the more you meditate, or do some kind of contemplation, journaling, and just get back to your sacred self, the more you will love yourself. And then no matter where people try to crumble the foundation, you're going to be fine, because your divinity within. It's not outside you, it's within you.
Yeah, definitely. And this is not an overnight process. Karma clearing is not an overnight process, and it's shouldn't be expected that if as soon as I respond this time in a different way, it's gonna change my life right away. It's a process. So if we talk about karma as a software that plays out, you mentioned that there are layers of karma, and there is karma, like for example, people who are in a spiritual community and had the spiritual awakening, we have a different type of karma, because now we feel like we need to share this message with others, right? So let's talk about karma of a spiritual person who is trying to deliver the message to humanity.
Yes, so a person who's awakened and he or she is trying to deliver the message to the humanity, Um, I feel like with the karma of people like us that are spiritual, sometimes it can feel an isolated community because, especially now with the COVID, we don't travel as much. So we are all in our own world. I think it's really important not to see your life as just like one dimensional. Like, I'm spiritual, therefore I can't do this, I can't do that. You are a whole person and you're here for a human experience. So um, you're here to experience life fully. So be careful with how you can spiritually bypass your own desires and your own self and suppress your needs and emotions because you think you're spiritual. I'm not supposed to be, going out and having a party with my friends. You can still do things, just do it consciously and with full awareness. So it's a balance. I think for spiritual people also they need to watch out and not try to tell other people how to be, more awakened. If people are unconscious, you
Yeah.
know, you can't, that was my thing. Like, oh man, that person, I can help them so much, but how can you help somebody when they're not ready for change? It's the behavioral theory that person is not going to change until they are ready. So they have to come to you. Meanwhile, all you have to do is provide support and love and care. And know that with your own presence in a mass situation and in a public or wherever you might be, with your own self, your higher vibration, will attract people naturally to you. This happens to me all the time. It's so weird. I go to Target and there's a guy coming to me, um, telling me about like his whole life story and this huge spiritual story, and I'm just like left with my jaw open, like what? Like this is
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, because after spiritual awakening, when you start, when your consciousness shifted, right, your antenna or energetic signature, it also changes. And based on that, you are attracting different people and different situations to your life. People who perceive life just on the level of a mind, it might sound like they might be skeptical about it. It's like, this is not, because this how does it work? I don't understand. But it's really how it happens. You just change your energetic signature, because each of us is so unique. That's why we are all so different. We are all so unique. Each of us carries our own energetic signature. And if we clear up all like the chakra system and we become a channel of the higher energy of infinite energy, that attracts people who need that type of energy, who need to interact with you. And sometimes in a conversation, it can be just a random conversation about the weather, but behind every word you say, there is a fragrance of the energy you carry within. So I find that sometimes you don't even need to talk spirituality to people. It's all about just bring them into a better state of being, crack a joke, or, just put that, I don't know, the plant a seed, and maybe down the road it will be something that's gonna blossom into a beautiful flower. So
Definitely, definitely. That's so important.
yeah. And karma, it's not only in humans. Like, karma is everywhere. Even the way the flower is blossoming, that's flowers karma. The
Yeah,
tree, the animals, everybody is just it's all karma playing out itself basically in physical world, right? So Meri, in terms of the daily practices that you do today, what works best for you?
can you repeat that question? It froze a little bit for me. Sorry.
No worries. Yeah, I was saying that, in terms of daily practices that you do today, spiritual daily practices, what works best for you?
So, this is one thing about I really, really, really love routines. So I have to watch out for myself. So sometimes when you get too much into a routine, you can get into a momentum and then you're not growing anymore. So I like to change my routine. So even with exercise, I've started with MMA, mixed martial arts, which is, what I did kickboxing, then I did body combat. Um, so my spiritual practice has to do a lot with changing it a bit. But in the morning, what I do is after I had coffee and settle everything, wash my face and all that, the basic things, I will meditate for about 10 minutes, and I will pull 3 cards. Um, and I change up. I have a lot of tarot decks and oracle decks. That was my first love. It helped me develop my spiritual senses. Because I didn't believe that I had that, just like everybody else. I still have doubts, so it's not perfect. So I'll pull 3 cards just to kind of set the tone for the day, and then I will journal the thoughts of the cards that I think within me, besides just reading the book. And then if I do remember dreams, sometimes I have crazy vivid dreams where they're like, I don't know, this is so weird. Like I can't even explain. Like sometimes I feel like I'm getting a divine message from some kind of ascended master, and I'm like, I don't know if this is like, am I somebody up there? I don't know. I really don't know. But I will write down my dream messages, and when I write down my dream messages along with the tarot cards that I pull, I will notice there's some synchronicities, and then also I get messages throughout the day where, oh wow, I can't believe I just pulled this animal, and this is what it means, and now I see these numbers associated with the same energy. Um, so, and then, once I got into that, then I kind of switched around. I don't pull the cards always. I only pull it if I feel like I have a question in mind. And then sometimes I'll do qigong in the morning, which is really slow meditative movement, and make up my own movement as well. And I feel like a lot of times with the right now, Mercury's in retrograde, Saturn's in retrograde, it's hard to really sleep, for me at least. Have a lot of energy. Even though I work out at least hour a day, I still have a lot of energy. So I can't meditate then at that time because I just like keep thinking about ideas. I'm like, I don't want any more ideas. I got enough ideas. So that's when I do the Qigong or Tai Chi and some kind of like really slow movement in the morning to kind of get centered. Something that's really important for all the people that are um, you're familiar with human design, non-emotional, so empaths. So if you're an empath, you take on the energy, emotional energy from other people, but you kind of suppress and don't even know what your own emotions are. You're not in tune with it. Journaling helped me a lot with working out different emotions. If something happens and you're kind of feeling really stressed out, you're not sure what to do, I will write it down in the journal, let all the emotions and thoughts pour out. And then my friend Noemi introduced me to EFT. I'll do EFT when there's strong emotions that I really can't get over, because we like to ruminate a lot on things. And EFT helps a lot with that, getting the emotional and taking that off of you. So.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Very good. In terms of family and people around you, how does your spirituality impact your relationships with people around you?
That's a good question. So when I started meditating, a few years ago when I lost my mom, I have noticed that, people I think people saw that I have changed in some way, but in many ways I have not. It's just that I became more like, you know, uh, research oriented, reading different books and things like that. And they noticed that I got more into the spiritual niche, with the tarot cards and human design. Astrology I've always loved, but then human design is something that I really enjoyed because of the energetics of the 9 centers versus the 7
Right.
centers. And then also I noticed that when I never pushed people to meditate, but I noticed, people will come to me like, I'm trying to meditate, how do I do this and that? And then my husband started meditating as well, because he has a stressful job at his work. So I know I'd never tell people what to do. I just noticed that, oh wow, look, they started doing this. And I'm like, I hope that I had some kind of impact or trigger in that. So yeah.
Okay. That's good. Thank you for sharing that. So, why I asked about family and community, and then slowly we can also progress into collective karma. So, what would you be able to share regarding your perception on collective karma and our role in it?
That's a good question. So I wouldn't even think about the collective karma until, reading this book. But I feel in a sense that we all, besides the collective karma of our, generation, our ancestors, when we break the generational cycles within ourselves, then we can stop it from going on into our own kids. I have a daughter, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
hoping that, I'm not repeating cycles of my past, family and ancestry, so I can um, break that cycle. But then with the collective karma, I feel like there's also collective karma within the spiritual community, because you have to see that sometimes it seems like this community can get a little bit too pushy. So I think we need to just step back a lot of times and let people live their lives the way that they want to. So um, I don't see myself as any kind of spiritual guru. I never will. I'm just here to, enjoy life and and live consciously. So
Mm-hmm.
when you do live consciously, and the way to get rid of the karma and speed up the process is do everything from center of unconditional love and doing things without expectations. Like you were saying in the beginning, somebody, I don't like when I see somebody donating money to a homeless person, but here they are, selfies and pictures. I mean, come on, like you're just trying to, show how awesome you are at giving. So we do things sometimes from, we want admiration and things, but I think we need to be conscious more about how we do it and what we do. And also, it is important to get back to our community, wherever we may be from, or the one that we live in. There's a collective karma where I'm living here now, I guess, with the way, I guess, people carry themselves in the South. Or there's collective karma within the people, from my country in the Bosnia, or, you know, Eastern Europe as a general, or Europe as a general. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
we just have to be aware of it, because we can get into the like where I come from, like, I mean, we are just jokesters. I'm honest, like we just joke a lot and say a lot of things, but I think some of those things can be really hurtful to people, so we just have to be aware of it.
Right. You mentioned a really good point about interaction between parents and kids, because a lot of parents just trying to raise a copy of themselves, right? And it's just so important to be mindful. I mean, I don't have kids, right? So sometimes, when I talk about raising kids and stuff, people are like, "Do you don't have kids? What? You have no idea." So, do you have kids, Mary?
Yes, I have one daughter. She's 12.
Beautiful. So, would you be able to share how to be mindful of your own karma when you interact with your kids?
Yes. So something that I felt like with my own upbringing, I was, I don't want to say criticize a lot, but kind of like the little nitpicking and nagging. So I try to catch myself before I do that and respond really more consciously, because I don't want her to, have the issues that I did. But then again, everything happens for a reason. So sometimes the things, no matter what you do, these things are passed on, I believe, through our genes. So even before she was, she could really get any of my karma onto her, I noticed that, oh my gosh, she's shy just like I was. And I'm like trying to put her in all these situations so she's not shy like I was. Not that I see shyness as a bad thing. It's just shyness is a way to kind of push your own self out into the world. So everything is a gift if you see it. Every single obstacle can become a gift to yourself. You're shy because you're empathetic, you know, and you're bringing aspect of life that somebody else doesn't offer. So the way that I'm trying to at least upbring her is not to push what I believe into her. I ask her, if, for example, like if you want to exercise, like what do you like to do? Okay, let's say you want to go for a walk, we'll do that. I push her to do yoga with me or anything else. But what I want, number one thing that I do is I want to be an example for her. So when she grows up, she's going to ask me, she's going to see all the things that I'm doing. Like, I'm going to do that. Can you teach me how to do that? And funny, she's a artist too. Like she's drawing and she's building video games and all these things. I'm like, I never planned for that to happen. It's just her natural abilities. It's crazy. Like, all their genes are passed through us to our kids. So I feel like with our kids, whoever out there, if you're worried about how you're going to raise your child, just know you are their guide. You can guide them to the best of your abilities, but in the end, they are the ones that are going to make the choices for themselves. So you have to show them, what kind of choices, have these consequences and what things A to B and compare and show them the way, and hopefully they will choose the right thing. So
Yeah, yeah. And I also think it's important to hear to their wisdom, because they have you know not as contaminated mind as sometimes adults do. And it's amazing when we have that opportunity and perception of life, where we're not there to teach them something, but we are there to guide them when they are open for our guidance, to help them when they are open for our help. But at the same time, like you said, still let them, do what they are passionate about. Let them experience good and bad if they choose to do so, because it's their soul's journey. And we shouldn't think that we are in a position to change them and, make them a copy of us.
Exactly. And that's why labels can be so hurtful. The mind likes to put everything in a label. This is good, this is bad. Or if you do this, you're going to turn out this way. So I'm going to make sure that stop you and do all this. Try to get away from the labeling of things and know that it's their journey. They're going through it. And if you label things, it's going to put that in their mind that what they're doing is wrong, and it's going to create the feelings of shame, guilt as they get older. So
Yeah, very good. Well, thank you so much, Meri, for sharing all this. At the end of conversation, I thought maybe to ask you to tell people if you have anything coming up for Spiritual Sense, what you do with spirituality today, and how they can find you and connect with you.
sure. Well, thank you so much. I don't have any events coming up. I did just publish a free ebook about energy clearing on my website. So to get that, just go to thespiritualsense.com and fill out the information. Just put your email address and you can download that free ebook. And the ebook is called Energy Clearing. Practical guide to clear old energy and align with your higher self. And it's interesting because a lot of the things that I talk about, the energy clearing has to do with karma clearing as well. So it kind of is part of that. And I talk in there about how you can clear energy mentally, physically with movement, and energetically as well. So when really you carry yourself, if you have something in your mind or physicality or energetics, you can't really lie. People will see that. So it's just these little rituals you can do. And I would just say, get that book, and then let me know if there's any other content you'd like to see, because my mind is a computer, endless information of spiritual stuff from all over. So I need sometimes to be like reined in and like, tell me what you like. So I'm not just posting this for myself.
For sure. Awesome. Thank you so much, Meri. Really appreciate all the insights and sharing your story as well. We will keep in touch, and if the followers had any questions, you guys could just comment below, and we will respond that way. Yeah, thank you, Meri, and have a wonderful day.
So much. I really appreciate you for asking me to do this. I really, truly enjoyed it, and I hope you have a great and wonderful day and weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, Meri. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.